Hey, what's up, you guys? Scott with Everyday Home Repairs. Today we're installing some blinds. Specifically, these are 2.5-inch faux wood blinds from Home Depot. Awesome product. Use these throughout our entire house. This is actually the last window we're finishing up. And they are customizable, so you can get them trimmed to your length. Specifically, what I did is I went online and I had all the measurements for our windows, selected them all, got them shipped to the house in a couple days, and then just started knocking them out. This window we're dealing with is a large window. It's actually 87.5 inches. So what I did is picked out 3 different blinds that would match up between the windows so you wouldn't get much light coming into the room. So depending on your project, you might just have a single window, which is awesome, easy to knock out, but this one's a little bit larger. So you'll see an example of using 3 independent blinds to knock out the job. Tools needed, really just have the cordless drill, the Makita with the extension for a Phillips head, and that's all I really need. You can bring your tape measure with, you can bring a Sharpie, a few other things if you really want to take your time with the mounting hardware to make sure it's exactly in place, but I'll show you. It's pretty easy to get it lined up and get them all installed. Now, what comes in the box is a few different components. These are going to be inside mount. So you have your instructions, which you can refer to. You have what's called a valance, which will cover the head rail of the blind unit. You'll have these little side valance plates. So if you were doing an outside mount with the combination of these guys and then the large valance and couple components here in the box, you would box in the head rail, so it would kind of cover up that head rail and give you a little bit better look, finished look. So opening up this box, I'll show you what we're going to use. Okay, so you have those corner pieces for the valance. I'm actually not going to use those. I'm going to use the large valance piece itself, but because it's inside mount, I don't need to box it in. Okay, so the components that I will use, the ones I won't use, so these little brackets that help to hold the blind down, I will not be using those. These are cordless, so if you had a corded one, usually they have like a tie-off. Again, you won't see that in this kit. Key pieces here, these are your main mounting brackets, so we'll take those. The end caps for the lower rail, take those. The head rail end caps, those are good ones. These are 2 of the clips for the valance. Need those guys. And then in your hardware for the screws, you're going to need 2 screws per bracket. So you'll see you have the longer screws here and then shorter. The shorter are for those brackets I showed you earlier that we're not using. So really for each of the blinds that I'm hanging, all I'm going to need is just for the longer mounting screws. And that's it. So with the blind, it comes custom cut if you needed that. If it was just the standard size, then you won't. What I would recommend before taking them in house is kind of shaking them out, because if they're custom cut, it's going to have a lot of the debris from the plastic-based faux wood, and it's better to get that in your garage or outside than it is in your carpet and clean that up later. So shake those out before, take the cardboard out, kind of get it ready to go, and then take them in the house, and it should help you with less mess. So I think I'm ready. I'm going to take all these up to the window and start installing them. All right, so here I'm just measuring about 2.5 inches in. I'm doing the left side and then the right side, coming back and finishing off with the middle section or middle blind. And that way I'm just gonna butt up the blinds to the left, butt them up to the right, and then have kind of the gaps in the middle to give a little room between the blinds as we move them up and down independently. For the brackets, what I do, each of them will have 2 screws, so I start off with the slot. And that's obviously just because you're going to be able to secure it or get it close to secured, and then move it in and out to line it up so that the header will be flush with your window frame. And then you just set that second one in. When you're starting off the screw, you're most likely going to drop these screws. If you get through this whole project and don't drop a screw, you got some skills, because it's super common. But what I do is I'll press the screw into the wood, and then that'll help it bite, and then it won't be as likely to fall off. And then I know this is a little bit far away to see the exact details on the right side. I'll zoom in a little bit, but I'm just clipping the blind into the brackets, putting the shade adjuster in, and then the top part, since these are inside mount, it's just going to have the front valance, and it's not going to be boxed in like it would if it was an outside mount. So just have the two clips in there and put the valance on. All right, so a little closer view now, doing that same as we did from left-hand side on the right-hand side, measuring 2.5 inches in. Again, pushing into the wood and to start the screw off, and then I'll get it close in the slot, and then I'll go for the back hole, align it where I need it, and go ahead and set that again. It takes a little getting used to, especially if you're using a drill with an extension like this. And you can see just going for the first slot. All right, so we'll set this one in, secure it, and then put the last screw in. You're going to want to make sure these are aligned and perpendicular to the front face. If you have them misaligned, when you seat the header rail in, it won't clip. You got to push it down, it won't clip correctly, or it will keep popping out. So you just need to be careful, make sure everything's aligned, and so it holds in securely and doesn't give you any issues. Okay, so now if everything's measured correctly, I'm going to go back through and place the final blind in the center. Again, just using the two brackets, the same process as before. And really, you want to have at least 1/4 inch on each side. My measurements are a little tight. It's more like maybe an eighth or around an eighth, I'd say. But 1/4 inch will make it so you have a little forgiveness where the blinds aren't catching on each other. Finish those brackets off. Nice to have a tool belt or something so you can hang the power drill off, and you can have a magnetic mount for the screws so everything's right at your hands, no problem. And then just kind of extend it out again, and then just clip it in and place the valance in place. And that's it. We're good to go. So just a little tip. One thing I found when you're trying to do multiple blinds on one window is it can be very hard to get the valances to line up. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a mismatch look. So what I took is, since these are inside mounts, I had no use for this corner valance to box it in. So I just took a simple pair of side cutters and started to just trim out this middle section. So all you need, and it ain't pretty, but all you need is just something like that. And what this is going to do is you can insert this in to the middle track and then connect up your two valances. And that's going to give you a much better finished look, and they're truly going to line up and not have mismatch and be unlevel. So just a little tip for you. So that's it. A really quick project, and I just think blinds are about a perfect way to get started in doing things around your house and kind of improving and doing repairs yourself. Why? Because it's super easy. All you need is a Phillips head screwdriver and a tape measure. That's it. You can get fancier with it, but that's all you need. And you can literally save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. For our house alone, I quoted it out with two blind companies, and then did it myself with just getting them from Home Depot. And I saved over $4,000, which sounds insane, but that is what we saved on this. And it took about 2 days of picking the blinds, getting everything set up, and then just starting to knock it out. So remember, in the description below this video, you'll see the exact 2.5-inch faux wood blinds that I used on this project. And if you like these sort of videos, we got a bunch of other ones out there, so make sure to subscribe to our channel. And if this video helped you out, go ahead and give us a like. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.